Hey everyone.
Ta-da!
So, happy Wednesday, if it is Wednesday, wherever you're watching this in the world. It might be Thursday, right? Could it also be Tuesday?
Nope.
No? Could only be a day ahead?
Yep.
How do you know that?
Well, I just know that.
All right. So,
At this time of day, there's no yesterday.
this thing is something to talk about today, and actually it came to me as soon as I saw... Wait, you can't see it in mine. Okay. See, made in Brooklyn. So
Backwards.
We're both made in Brooklyn. So we coincidentally were both born in Maimonides Hospital in Brooklyn. So please, in the comments below, write where you were born. And I know where you were born, right? Born in?
Like the city?
Yeah, like the town and state, city and state. And then, if you want, also write what your hometown is, because it may not be one and the same. How you consider your hometown.
Oh, where you were born versus where you were.
So where were you born? Okay,
see
is
where
one
you
thing.
grew up.
Right. That's So we were both born in Brooklyn.
Hey Ed.
Hey,
Ed's from Brooklyn.
Ed's from Brooklyn. We are very proud of our Brooklyn heritage.
Brooklyn is very different now than it was.
Well, I don't know how different because we really haven't been there, but it's become
different. I was there.
Brooklyn is very big. Brooklyn is one of the boroughs of New York City. So there are 5 boroughs in New York City. For those of you that don't know, you have New York, New York. So New York, Manhattan is borough number 1.
Well, I don't know if they're numbered.
There's Brooklyn.
Some say Brooklyn is number 1.
There is Staten Island. There's Queens. And there's
Bronx.
the Bronx. My grandma Ray was born in the Bronx. And my parents were born in Brooklyn, both of them, as were both of your parents, right?
Yes.
So we are totally made, we are 100% Brooklyn, because our parents are Brooklyn, right? Hi Lenore, happy, healthy, sweet New Year to you.
Sean Dobson.
Oh, Sean. I was born in Seaford, Delaware, and grew up in Cortland, New York. So whoever's joining now, if please write where you were born and where you grew up, or what your hometown is. So I'd like to ask you, did you enjoy where did you grow up, and did you enjoy growing up in Brooklyn? Oh well, where did you grow up? I think.
Spoiler alert.
Wait. So you grew up in Brooklyn, but
Well,
till
first
when?
let me say that it's never too late to have a happy childhood.
I agree.
Let me preface that.
I grew up in the county of Kensington. County of Kensington. Is that in England? Is Ed from... No, Ed said he was born in Brooklyn. County of Kensington. Where is that? The words on your shirt.
Yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah, it said backwards. I know.
You have to watch this in a mirror in order to read it.
Right, Thomas grew up in the town where Ozzie and Harriet hailed from. Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Very Americana. Very cool. So, go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about where we grew up.
So, well, I was born in Brooklyn and grew up, really, in kind of Brooklyn and Staten Island. Because even though we moved to Staten Island when I was in the middle of the 1st grade, which caused me a lot of emotional distress. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. I spent a great deal of time in Brooklyn, even when we moved to Staten Island, because my grandparents were in Brooklyn, and that's kind of what we did. We spent, I remember it as like every day.
Where'd you live in Brooklyn?
I lived, the last place I remember, when I was born, we lived in one place, which I don't obviously have any recollection of because I was, 1.
And then
but then we moved to a place called Harway Terrace, which was an apartment building. I think we lived on the 12th floor.
Until when?
Until I moved to Staten Island in the 1st grade.
Oh, you moved going into 1st grade?
No, in the middle of 1st grade.
Oh, the middle of...
Are you paying attention to me? I'm right next to you.
The middle of 1st grade?
Yes, and I said it caused me a lot of emotional distress. Weren't you here when I was just saying that 10
No.
seconds ago?
So did you recover by the second grade, or when did you recover?
Well,
Are you still
kinda
recovering?
I am.
Can you blame your parents?
Absolutely.
So how did Staten Island shape you? You can share your story first. I'm going to ask you these questions and then I'll share mine. How did Staten Island shape you?
If I don't ask you, will you share anyway?
Yes.
How did it shape me? Well, I know what good pizza tastes like.
You do.
You
and
know?
we don't live too far.
Right.
Okay. But I know how good pizza tastes too, because by the way, I think
and
the best
I
pizza in the world is
know-
New York. Wait.
I know that. I know what
wait.
good live music sounds like.
Excuse me. Just the pizza thing, it's because of the water in New York. That's part of it. And then
part of
it's a
it.
good sauce,
And it's
a good
also-
family recipe.
It's also
Hey, Michelle.
one of my Staten Island buddies.
Good. So we're talking about Staten Island and hometowns and how it shaped you and what did you enjoy about your experience in Staten Island. So you said good pizza.
Good pizza.
Check. Good live music. What kind
Good
of live music and where?
Well, we used to go to the clubs and listen to live bands. Even though it was the disco era, right? We spent a lot of time listening to live bands, live music. That was, our age, when we were that age now, right? They don't really go to a lot of live bands. It's, DJs or the stars. I don't quite get that, playing other people's music.
So what else?
What
else shaped you? And did you
and,
love most and or not love most? Like, tell us more about how Staten Island shaped the man that I decided to be with for the rest of my life.
Well, I modeled myself as to not be like the people in Staten Island.
I think you accomplished that well because you
Yeah.
don't have a Staten Island accent.
No,
That's for sure. And
no,
you don't have very
no,
tall
I don't
hair.
have, although my hair's a little crazy
No,
today.
you got
but,
nice hair.
No, so, my Brooklyn roots were always, important to me, even though I lived in Staten Island, grew up on Staten Island. School, high school was rather unique.
Why? Hi, Michael.
Well, it was
So
just
nice
a
to
very
see you last
interesting,
night.
a
Why?
very interesting time, and then.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Wait, elaborate on that. What
Well,
does
in
that
the
mean?
late 70s was a very interesting time to be alive.
Because?
Because of just, how the culture was and music and the 70s represented a lot of freedoms, carried over from the 60s.
Our parents. Our parents.
Yeah,
really.
we had very little, right? We had, we didn't have a whole lot of parental supervision. We were kind of doing our own thing in high school.
Hi, Karen.
And
Wait.
parents weren't really on top of us. We didn't have,
True.
there was not that same means of communication, right? Where we could check in all the time. We were in the days of, we would.
Yell out the window.
I think we talked about this in the past. Was you would use the payphones and call collect to let your parents know that you got somewhere or you needed something, and they would just refuse the call. Unless you shouted in the background, accept the call.
Wait, excuse me. So first of all, I just want everyone to know in the comments below, please write where you were born and where you grew up.
Or if you've never grown up, just indicate that as well.
Okay, so thank you, Karen. She grew up in Milwaukee. By the way, Michael, who's on Robert's Live, is, don't worry about any of that. Robert.
I want to see who's
is,
online.
So Michael,
Give me a break.
So Michael meet Karen, which is really cool how worlds collide, because Karen grew up in, well, now I can't see her comment, now that you did
Milwaukee.
that, in Milwaukee, and anyways, I told her about Sherry, so Michaal's wife. So on 2 different Facebook feeds. So please write where you were born and where you grew up, and we're talking about how it shaped you. So, but we also were talking about the busy signal, talking about communication. We really had a landline phone attached to a wall, and there was no even call waiting at that time. That
Right.
came later, and answering machines came on the scene, and we'd call home. So what were your favorite things about growing up in Staten Island, and what were your not favorite things? Because then I want to share my story.
I guess.
And it's windy, by the way. They're saying it's very hard to hear this noise.
Oh, is it?
They're all saying the wind. Sean said it's very hard to hear us. So I'm sorry, because we kind of like being out here, You know, we're going to be out here in the snow. Well, maybe we'll be living in Miami by then. Is that possible?
Maybe it's possible.
So wherever you live actually becomes your hometown. So your hometown of Staten Island shaped you.
Right.
And then you had some other hometowns that you loved. But just share a little bit about your favorite things about growing up in Staten Island and some of your not such favorite things.
My favorite thing about growing up in Staten Island was the block.
Ah.
The block. You always hung around the block, you know, and your friends were on the block. And you never had to really go anywhere. It was just, you know, you played on the block.
Wait, David Margulies. I am going up to Brooklyn for a race in 3.5 weeks. Cool.
Oh, we should get together.
Congratulations.
I haven't seen
Yes,
him in
we
a
should
while.
get together.
Yeah, he lives in Florida.
This is the beauty. Oh, he's in Florida? I didn't know that. Where in Florida?
I don't know. Florida, hot part of Florida.
David didn't write where he's from.
So
Yes,
yeah,
moved to
so
me.
the block, that was the best part about Staten Island.
Yeah.
Was, you know, the neighborhood.
And what was your least favorite part?
The block.
Oh, so why? About both.
Because
Why
it
your
was,
favorite and why
because
not?
it became, because you know, it was, again, you know, your parents didn't drive you all over the place, right? So you had to just kind of stay where you were, or you took the bus, you know, and you went to the mall or to your friend's house.
So
It
like what
wasn't-
Karen said,
you
Milwaukee
weren't-
people hung around the block too,
Yeah.
rode out bikes. Well, I was going to
Yeah,
say that.
right.
I had a Schwinn Varsity 10-speed bicycle. You had a banana seat bicycle, you told me.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
one of the, and we used to ride everywhere on our bicycles. It was fantastic. Not only for exercise, but actually it was freeing.
Well, we had a clubhouse in the woods that
did?
we. Oh yeah.
Really?
Where were you going to keep your Playboy magazines?
He still has those, by the way.
So we had a clubhouse in the woods that we built from the scraps of wood that we would collect, because where we moved was a new development. So they, you know, were building houses, and you know, there were always scraps of plywood and 2x4s and all of that. So we would take all of that and we'd go into the woods and we'd build a clubhouse, and we'd have a clubhouse for our Playboy magazines and our cigarettes, our Marlboros.
You smoke cigarettes?
I smoked about 2 packs of cigarettes in my life.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm learning so much about him right now.
Yes.
Lisa from the Bronx. My mother, I love my New Yorker friends, but I love all my friends. But I love New Yorkers. Yes, I do, Karen. And all my friends from everywhere. My mother knew where I was at all times, from all the family and neighbors watching. And we would build scooters with a roller skate wheels and wooden boxes.
Right. We used to build jumps for our bikes,
And you used to tell me.
ramps, and we used to jump.
You used to tell me you loved like your next door neighbor. I think you always had Christmas there. Like that was.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
What was her name?
Sandy and Jax.
Right.
Yeah,
That was
she
a
passed
fond
away.
memory, right?
Oh, it was great.
Right.
I mean, we were always together. I mean, it was right across the fence, and we were in either their backyard or they were in our backyard.
So you loved, but I mean, when you say it, what didn't you love about being in Staten Island?
Well, just again, it was just because, you know, your whole world was you know, around the block. You were kind of, you know, if you were mad at people or you didn't like someone that week for whatever reason, you were still forced to play with them.
Do you
Try and block
Yeah, right.
the wind.
Miss the easy, laid back life. Yes. Totally agree. Cigarettes. Well, I never really had cigarettes. My parents had cigarettes, and they stopped in their early. When I was in my early 20s, I think that they stopped.
All right, so tell your story, because it's windy and it's probably very annoying.
Okay, and then I want to say something. Wait, yes, ramps. Oh, I
Are
can't
you
even
going to
keep
just
up.
read all the
Oh my
comments?
God, because everyone in yours
Everyone will
can't
read
see.
them. Everyone
So,
will read them.
okay, so everybody can check
Yeah.
back. I want to keep up, but okay, I'm so glad this bring back so many fun memories. All right, so I was born in Brooklyn, very proudly Brooklynite, and I grew up, I don't know where I first lived, but for the most part, I went through until 5th grade. I grew up in Sheepshead Bay, and Joy and I connected because a few people I've been speaking to actually, now all the names are not totally there, that I've connected with because they also grew up in Sheepshead Bay, and I went to PS 52, and I walked to school, and oh my God, I was addicted to egg cream. My parents, by the way, I'm interrupting my story with egg creams. Wow, thank you, Karen. She loves this topic, so do I. Oh goodness, wait a second. Lisa, my father owns a gas station garage in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And he had a Seltzer trucks, and he had Fox's You-Bet trucks. So we had egg creams all the time in our house. It was
Fox's You Bet
just so you know,
was chocolate syrup.
chocolate syrup, which you'll see in the stores sometimes. But when you make an egg cream, you put a little bit of milk, you put seltzer, and then you add your chocolate syrup. Delicious, delicious beverage. So, so when I grew up in Brooklyn, I walked to school. Also, there were rides. I remember going to, there were rides that came around the neighborhood.
We just passed a couple
an
of weeks ago when we were
amusement.
down the shore.
Right.
King Kong, the swing, the big swing.
So they
King
would come
Kong.
around with the whip around. So there were rides in a truck that
There's all kinds of stuff falling out of the sky.
There were rides in the truck that you would come around. The ice cream truck would come around. I remember my father always had.
I drove the ice cream.
My father always had Cadillacs. His father had Cadillacs. He had Cadillacs. So I remember him coming home with these Swingette donuts in the car. He taught me how to ride my bicycle in the backyard. But the backyard is cement. So we played punch bowl. So I have really fun memories. And my very, very good friend who I reconnected with on Facebook, Karen Gossett Nadler. We have reconnected because of Facebook, because we grew up together.
Everyone's jumping back
in
and
Facebook.
forth between our
Okay,
feeds.
good, fun. You know what? Go look at all the comments because this is so much fun. So when I moved, so my father worked off the Bell Parkway in Brooklyn, Brownsville, and we moved when I was going to 6th grade to Long Island. And I have to say, my hometown is both. I was shaped by Brooklyn. I shared a room with my brother. Right? Did you share a room with your sister in Brooklyn? You were,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even through 1st grade? So I shared a room. I had a beautiful canopy bed. My brother had this, like, I don't know what you call it, sleeper, like, but, you know, it was so beautiful because we lived in the same room and it was not a big deal.
He would hang upside down in the closet.
So I remember I just had a very joyous childhood in Brooklyn. And we'd go on road trips in my parents' car. But for the most part, we were in the neighborhood. It really was very simple life then. But, oh, that's funny. Ed says our candy store had lime rickeys. That's a different drink, right? Lime rickeys.
Yep.
So, I know. I could talk about egg creams all day, too. We'll do that another time. So, we're going to talk about traditional foods. We'll talk about that another time. So then I moved to Long Island, the 5 towns, as many people know it. Again,
Town number 3.
5 boroughs, 5 towns. I lived in Woodmere, and my first friend was Martine Mogul-Ritter. And she was her, and then she introduced me to Marcy. And I have to tell you, from 6th grade through 12th grade, I grew up in Long Island, and it was wonderful. And there were so many, I rode my bike to my friends in North Woodmere, and I have many friends still, Stacy and Ava. And
Stacy just commented.
oh, Stacy. See? Oh my God. Ziti bread Coke for $1 at Golden Tornado. So, in 6th grade, and when I met Stacy, we were all in West Side Story together, so many fond memories. Stacy and I also were roommates for 4 years in Manhattan, post-college. Stacy, we used to go to this Golden Tornado. It was the most delicious baked ziti ever, and also their French fries. So that was so great. It was such a good transition because, you know, I had friends right away. Yeah, and you all wore platform shoes in the school picture. Yes, we did, and we bought them at Pasture Line. So, yes, we did. I know we loved our clothes and our shoes, right, Stacy? So anyway, our friendships. You had a lot of great friendships. I met a lot of your friends through the years when we met. So what's really cool, so our hometowns are Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Long Island, right? But then, you know, you have new towns as you go along. And honestly, then it was Robert lived in Bayonne, I lived in Manhattan with Stacy, and then in my own studio that my parents own. And then we decided what hometown do we want our children to be raised in, is Livingston. And that's where we've been since 1993. But let me tell you something. I can't think of any bad thing about Brooklyn, Long Island, Bayonne, where I lived with you for a year, was my hometown for a year, or Livingston. I have joy in all of those places. I feel that it definitely shaped me to who I am, what I love. I do love when things were simpler. Yes, we did. Love you too so much. Happy New Year, Stacy. Cannot wait to see you. You know, that today, that anyone who knows me knows I love being a New Yorker. I definitely think that we brought up, even though we were brought up separately by different parents in different towns, I think there's a lot of familiarity on how we grew up. Not only, you know, sharing the same faith or religion, but the way we were brought up in those towns, in New York.
Knowing what a good bagel tastes like.
And knowing what good pizza tastes like. No question. We had Mother Kelly's in Long Island. New York is the best. And in Brooklyn, we used to go to, oh my God, Connie's Pizza, and Jan's for the kitchen sink ice cream sundae. I used to walk to the bagel store. This was unbelievable. Talking about bagels, I would walk. My mother would send me. I'd walk for the bagels. No, who's sending their kids to do that anymore? I'd walk for the bagels. I went to the hook rug store, shopping in Cedarhurst, of course. We used to go ourselves. I'd ask my parents if we could go. As long as even when I went out with my friends, as long as I called and told them I was okay, it was okay.
Right.
You know?
That collect call.
Now
Ring
it's
once
crazy.
and hang up.
But I used to love going to Cedarhurst. I used to love going to certain stores. It was happy. It does sound like happy days. You're right. And used to get the kitchen sink too. So you know what? People who grew up in this area or any area have your memories. But I do believe where we grew up, where we were born, where, you know, parents make the decision where you're going to be. I mean, Lindsay and Alex, they don't know anything other than being born and growing up in Livingston.
Right.
And you know what? They're very,
Other than going to school,
and they're
they've
proud
never
of it.
moved.
And there were pros and cons, you know? I mean, you know, there were things, you know, we hear about things about being affected, growing up with, you know, material items. When you were in Long Island in the 5 towns, that was a very common thing. But I felt I was always down to earth, and all my friends were down to earth. So that's who we connected with. And you know what? There was responsibility and trust, and you have to be lucky with who you become friends with.
Right, of course.
But I feel...
that holds true for your whole life.
Yeah, and being safe and trusting. But I really feel that I remember when I had my own room, going to Long Island, wow. I felt like I was Oliver. Oh my God. And I mean, not because of money, just feeling like, wow, I have my own room.
Oh.
It was like, wow, it was a gift. It was a gift. So I thank my parents for giving birth to me. I thank Robert's parents for giving birth to him.
Yeah.
For us both to being in Brooklyn. Yeah, well, we talked about that, Stacy. Rode our bikes all the time to North Windermere Park. I loved it. And it was really great. So I think these memories will stay with us forever. And I think that we've been, you know, it has shaped us, you know, for the better. And I think that we're aware of the independence, the love of just New York being the way it is.
And I like that we were part of Brooklyn before it was hip to be a part of.
And I don't know if anyone was in Brooklyn, but Crazy Eddie. Oh, my orthodontist was in Williamsburg.
Oh.
Okay, but I have to say, what was the last thing I was just saying before that?
Crazy Eddie.
Crazy Eddie's. Oh my God, that was so crazy. It said warm beer and lousy food, I think, on the T-shirt, which I
That's
still
Crazy
has.
Country Club.
Oh, it was crazy. Why did I say
Crazy
Crazy
Eddie.
Eddie's was the store. Oh, Crazy. I think of my father because he's crazy. Not really. Crazy Country Club. You remember? Did you go there?
Of course.
They had something where you blew up, like there was air. There was something that blew up the girls' skirts. And I used to love the
microphones
discos.
in the bathroom.
Talking about music, I loved the disco time. Remember, Stacy? We would wear our normal Kamali and our
Well, we used to go to
and our
2001
shoulder pads,
Space Odyssey,
our fashion.
which was where Saturday Night Fever was shot. The dance.
Really?
Yeah, that was right near Crazy Country Club.
And I remember going to the Copacabana. You know, we had lived in really cool times. The 70s and 80s were a lot of fun.
They were.
I mean, we've had fun in the 90s together. But honestly, our hometown and, you know, really is, and, you know, we've gone back. And we haven't been going back really to Brooklyn. We should do that.
Well, we went to Coney Island not long ago. We were in Coney Island. We were walking around. Went to the game.
Stacy, don't forget how lucky we were to have Atlantic Beach. Oh my goodness, Stacy, how did I not even bring that up? So being in Long Island, and where we live 10 minutes away from the beach, which anyone who's watching this now knows that the beach is my happy place. I like to be kissed by the sun, my toes wiggling in the sand, and hearing the sounds of the ocean waves. And you know what? We were 10 minutes away, and we went to Sunny Atlantic Beach Club, and my parents had a locker, and you know what? My mother really. And, well, my parents, but my mother mostly went. And you know what? They always had those Dum-Dum lollipops. Again, a fantastic memory. And it's probably one of the main reasons I also love the beach. Because whatever your parents expose you to. Did you go to the beach in Brooklyn?
Yes, we went to Coney Island.
Oh, you know what? And you've told me that. But you know what? I do have more memories. Because you brought up, you brought up grandparents. And you know what? My great-grandma lived in Bell Harbor and Far Rockaway, which are right near each other. We had a lot of family in still that's, what part is that? Far Rockaway. What is that considered?
The Rockaways.
Okay, so that was my great grandma Becky. But my grandma Ray and Grandpa Aby lived near Kings Plaza. And I remember that mall going, and they lived right there at Avenue T. Do you know, I even remember 516-569-4521 was my home number in Brooklyn, and 4523 was my own phone number. My parents got me my own line because I was the girl and the older girl.
People are going to call that number and give prank phone calls to ask for you.
What?
Now people are going to call that number that you just
No,
gave out
that was
and
my
ask
Brooklyn
you.
number. Can you believe I remember that?
That was the Long Island number. 516.
No, it was not. Oh, you're right. It was Long Island. You're right. I don't remember.
I know I'm right.
You're right.
You don't have to
You're right.
tell
It
me
wasn't
I'm
my
right. I know I'm
212
right.
number. Hey, Tim, as soon as we're almost done, we're like really done, and I will then be calling you. So, or you, well, yes, I'll call you in like 5 minutes. So, Lindsay, why is he saying about showers? So she's talking about your camp experience?
I have no idea.
So I went to Brooklyn Day Camp. I went to Mill Basin Day Camp. I have to tell you, I used to love being with my grandparents. We used to go out for Italian food to this restaurant called Luigino's. I remember my grandpa having pistachio ice cream. I mean, how cool is this? Oh, look what Stacy said. I had the best car. Oh, God, except when we got that tire. Let me tell you something. I had a 1975 red Pontiac Firebird, okay? And then I was with Stacy, and we were driving through Central Park, and my car just died. It's unbelievable. No cell phones. I don't even know how. I don't even know how we got it to my father's station.
How did we get here from growing up in Brooklyn? I want you
Lindsay
to know.
remembers the beach club. What?
Okay.
Because Stacy's reminding me of all these
Say
fantastic
goodbye, Holli.
memories. Listen, I want to know more about your hometown. And if you came from Brooklyn, Sheepshead Bay, I would have gone, I made the SP. I would have gone to Shellbank and Sheepshead High, but I moved to Long Island. And I am so grateful for all of my amazing towns that I lived in. And some people moved lots and lots of times. If you came from Staten Island, if you came from Bayonne, or even from Livingston, let us know, because we would love to chat more about your favorite memories. Have an amazing rest of the day.
Go press the buttons.
Okay.
Finish.
Finish.